What is going on, guys? My name is Halvy, and today I am bringing you another Chill Chat Q&A. I don't know which episode this is, but I know it's been a while since I've done it again, and for that I'm sorry, but I'm doing it, and that's what matters, right? First question to start off, I think we had one from this dude, the last one as well, Mustachioid. I don't know, you corrected me on the last time, I don't remember, sorry. But the mustache man masturbator. He says, question, bang, marry, kill. Winnie the Pooh, SpongeBob SquarePants, or Stewie Griffin. So, first of all, it's a really lame thing to have to put somebody through in this circumstance. Because essentially you have childhood hero, a kind of douchebag, and then a weird sponge. But I think I was thinking through this, and I think it's pretty self-explanatory, and it'll make sense why I do the things that I do. So, first one, bang, SpongeBob SquarePants, because he's a sponge. And you can let your little imaginations go wild as to why that would be the appropriate one to bang. For the next one, marry, I'm going to have to say Winnie the Pooh, because Winnie the Pooh was like is like a childhood idol of mine. I guess he's not really still a childhood idol of mine. Back when I was just a kid, man, I watched Winnie the Pooh so much. And just a little story for you, just a quick story. I remember back, I don't know, I must have been like 5, if that. I just remember watching one of the first Pooh movies ever made. At the very end of the movie, you go through the whole movie, and at the very end, it's like this little thing of him sitting there, and he keeps asking the narrator or something like that, and he's like, well, why can't we watch it again? Why can't we stay with him? Blah, blah, blah. And I remember as a kid, I was just like, oh, Mom, he wants me to watch the video again, so I kind of have to. I don't want to let Winnie the Pooh down, so I would continue to watch the video like 2 more times, and this happened every time I watched it. So yeah, I would marry Winnie the Pooh because I love him. And then I would obviously kill Stewie Griffin because that's a little rat, just a stupid rat. Alright, the next question comes from Madison Fitzhenry once again. My question, do you have any pointers on how to combat anxiety? I'm fairly sure I get most of my unease and fear from school and added stress, but I tend to put off my problems that continue to give me anxiety instead of facing them head on, which is horrible, I know, but I'm terrible at coping with it. Have you ever struggled with anxiety or something similar, and if so, what have you done to manage it? So yes, I have definitely struggled with anxiety, which comes oftentimes with stress. And there are definitely ways to cope with anxiety and stress and things like that. It's all, the way that I find is it's all very much so within your frame of mind. It's all about your perspective on everything. So you have, anxiety from school and stress, and you feel like you don't have time to do what you want to do, or you don't have time to finish the things that you have to finish. The best and the most easy way that I have found, at least when working through my stuff, when I find myself getting anxious or stressed out, is if it's something that's like needing to get done right away, I'll make a to-do list, a micro to-do list for the bigger thing, right? So if it's a project or something, right? Rather than just saying, finish this project, make a list of the things that it would require to finish the project. You have, instead of just finish this big graphic design commission or whatever, right? First thing what I do is I'll say, okay, draft a wireframe, then do line work, then color in, then finalize, then test spec, something like that, right? So for you, if you have like school projects or anything like that, add some micro lists to the products themselves, because then you're able to go through, see more clearly like an easier, really simple task that you need to finish, and then you can go through and finish one by one. And it feels a lot easier to manage. Even though you're still doing the same thing, the whole perspective it puts yourself in is that, oh, this is totally doable, they're easy little things, and you'll find yourself just getting them done. And that's the other thing with anxiety, is the best way to get rid of anxiety is to get rid of whatever it is that's causing it. So if it's a project that's causing it, then get the project done. And then, but another way of just kind of coping with anxiety, if it's general, if you're not necessarily needing to get anything done right away, but you're still anxious about it, what I find the best is just to take a break, to take a clean break, give your mind some rest, go grab a coffee or something like that, take a quick nap, something, just to kind of calm yourself down and be able to look at it with a fresh perspective, a better mindset. And from there, it should all fall into place pretty easily. All right, Save Your Void says this: I'm a junior in high school right now, and I'm thinking of continuing my education in college as a wildlife biologist. Pretty sweet. But at the same time, I'm making decent money on eBay by buying and selling old coins. I'm not sure if I should continue selling coins, pursuing YouTube and streaming on Twitch, or if I should give it up and go to college. Any thoughts? Well, here's the thing. You don't necessarily have to give up all that. It's not like a one or the other kind of thing, I guess. I'm in college, I'm a senior in college, and I've been able to keep up doing my external business ventures, working full time, and doing YouTube, and any other hobbies and stuff like that. You can do both. It means it might be more difficult, but you can definitely still do both. However, looking straight into it, I actually have a friend who actually does this. I didn't know this was even anything you could do, but he does the whole buying, selling things, and his, I just kind of ran the question by him really briefly, and he said essentially he definitely would not trust it. Trust like the market and trust that whole system of buying and selling through eBay as a full-time kind of consistent thing. If you go to college, sure, it might set you back in the short term, but it sets you up. It gives you, what I love about college is it gives you a great buffer before you have to start worrying about that with the career and everything. You get loans, you get all those things, so you can be a little bit, you have time to set yourself up. With YouTube and Twitch, it's fun, but I would never ever pursue it solely as a career path, unless it all of a sudden turns into one because it, I don't know, you get a good enough audience or whatever. I would never pursue that full time as a career because it's too risky. There's really just too many variables that would go against you in that line of work and career. And so if you were to take college, for example, you're guaranteeing yourself, well, not necessarily guaranteeing, but if you work hard enough, you'll be able to easily get yourself a job outside of it. On top of that, you'll be able to still do your business, still do YouTube, still have fun with those things, but you're definitely setting yourself up for a better career and a better future if you go to college on top of it. All right, so You Want Some Book says, all right, that's a name. Hi, Halvy. I just subbed a few days ago and I watched every one of these chill chat videos and I enjoyed them all. I have a pretty big question on my head that I want your opinion on. I've been watching a lot of dancing and breakdancing videos for the past couple of months, or maybe in a year now, and I truly feel like I want to start doing it. I've always been saying to myself that I want to start doing b-boy moves when I have the time, in the past, but I never do it. Do you have any ideas for me so that way I can actually be dedicated to actually start dancing? Best of lucks and thanks. So I guess the thing is that if this is something that you've been wanting to do for a while but you just haven't done yet, I mean, it's pretty simple, and that's, if you just think logically, right? I want to do something. It's been a passion of yours in a sense for the longest time. It still is, and you still want to do it. The logical thing to do is just do it then, right? If you want to do it, then do it. With this, I mean, it's very... you can get into trouble doing that with that philosophy. So with just this question in mind, logically, you've wanted to do this for a while, so just go do it. Start learning. There's even on YouTube, there's tutorial videos to dancing and everything. You also don't need to know anything about dancing to just start dancing and having fun with it. As per usual, my videos the occasional video that I've put up where I have weird dancing and I'm me and Cameron or whatever, I have no idea what I'm doing, neither does he, but we just dance and have fun with it and make a video of it. As far as actually dancing goes, though, it's all just, you can do anything you want to in life. You just got to be willing to put the time down to learn it. So if this is something you really want to do and you have time to just sit down and learn and really practice and whatever, then do it and you'll be dancing, really well within no time, I'm sure. And you can go impress all those ladies at the clubs and whatnot and get some good scores on DDR3. All right, the next question comes from Ethan Bishop. He says, hey man, I just barely subscribed and I gotta say your videos are more addicting than meth. Well, that's pretty addicting. So I'm 12 and going into the 7th grade. I'm pretty chill about that if it wasn't because I'm very bad at carrying out school tasks, especially with math. I'm scared that it will get made fun of in class. If you would make a video about not being good at stuff, I'd really appreciate it and relieve a lot of my stress through the school year. Yeah, so, okay. Pretty much what he's saying is that he's got a lot of stress about going to school because he's not good at school-related things like probably math and all those things. I remember back, I don't even know what grade this was. This is actually still in elementary school, and it was like the day before school started, and I was like freaking out, like panic attack, because I'm like, I don't want to do math. I hate math and all this stuff. I've always hated math, and the whole mystery of a new school year and more challenging than the last and having to push yourself constantly, that all eventually will go away with time and you'll begin to, I think, start learning to appreciate it and like want to be challenged and stuff with different things. But it's also harder when you have a grade going into it or whatever, So what I would say though is you think you're not good at it. Well, the reason that you're probably not good at it is because you haven't practiced it enough, or you haven't learned the foundations enough to be good at it, right? Because being good at something just simply means that so you have two people. You have someone who's good at something like, okay, breakdancing from the last question, and someone who's not. I think the only thing that really will separate those two is that the person who's good at it has been doing it for so much longer than the person who hasn't, and the person who's doing it, he knows just a lot of the foundations by practicing, by learning all these things, where the other person hasn't really done any of it. I think the best thing for you to do is going to be just sit down and like think about really what it is. The first day, the first week even, you know, there's nothing really to it. It's typically a very simple kind of process with just orientating yourself. And throughout that first week, there's not very much work that you're going to have to be doing. And so with that, you're not going to have to worry too much about homework, and you're going to be able to acclimatize yourself and get into the groove of things. It's not like it's just all of a sudden hitting you hard. So just brace for impact, I guess, and then you really realize probably what's going to be is that it's not nearly as difficult as you make it out to be in your head. But if it still is difficult and going through classes and stuff is, then I would just say, hey, you know, talk to the teacher. Don't be afraid to ask for help. There's always tutors, teachers helping, all that stuff that can really make things a lot easier. So yeah, that's what I would say for you to do is just, if you're nervous, then just try to think about the fact that it's not that difficult, that you'll be okay, and that in the end, if you really do need help with classes and everything like that, there's always help there for you to help you understand. You just got to be willing to put the time in and put the effort in and willingness to learn. All right, and the final question that I have for you today comes from the Annihilator Gamer, and he asked me, how did you meet the crew? And that's a good question. I've had that question asked actually quite a few times. I don't know if I've answered it in any other videos, but we'll go ahead and get into this for this final question. So it all started, I mean, it's a really long story, so I'm trying to think of how to simplify it the best I can. But essentially, before my ItsHalvy channel, I had a couple other channels that I made some other friends with and stuff. And I ended up creating my channel Halvyography, which was essentially just a thing I made just so I could store my motion graphics. I started getting into motion graphics and video editing and all that. And so I wanted a place to store my videos. So I did that, and I had different motion graphics on there and everything. And I ended up getting approached on Skype by Hova one day. And this was back when he had, I think, about 150,000 subscribers. So a lot, you know, a long time ago. And he just asked me, he wanted to know if I'd be willing to make him a motion graphic video. A new intro. And I said, yeah, sure, I could do that and stuff. And so I did one for him, and he loved it. And then he was saying he would love like different types. But what he said was that he would love to be able to help compensate me, but the best way to do it for him would be for him to help promote like YouTube stuff. And I didn't even have a gaming channel at the time, so he's like, you really should start a gaming channel. I was like, oh, well, I've been thinking about doing that again here for a while. I just really haven't done it yet. So I started my ItsHalvy or Halvy Plays gaming channel. And so, you know, we occasionally play together and stuff. And then I made videos, and he'd like them occasionally and stuff like that. But then through that, I ended up, you know, I always done graphic design. And so then I was like, hey, yeah, I can do graphic design too, by the way. So if you want, I can, you know, do logos or avatar stuff. And then from there, he's like, oh, that's great. And there's always been stuff that I've been helping with thumbnails, video editing, all that. And then recently I've actually become his full-time video editor. And then I always do, obviously, all his videos, thumbnails, and then t-shirts and all that stuff. I do those too. And so we've kind of had this kind of mutual like working relationship in a sense, but throughout, you know, 2 years or whatever, kind of had the ability to become friends. And then I met, and then through that though, it was like 2 summers ago, he passed my name on to, I think it was, let's see, Nobody Epic and then Deluxe 4. They both came to me, and so then I did some stuff for them. And so that's how I ended up meeting them. And then within this last year or so, I started playing some CSGO with them, and that's how I ended up meeting G18 and Sidearms. And then and then I met Shadow Beats actually a couple years ago too, when I designed an album cover for him for one of his songs. So that's how I ended up meeting everybody, and it was kind of just been, I guess, yeah, pretty sure that's about it. Speedy I've met, you know, playing CSGO and stuff as well. I don't think I've done really anything for him yet, but yeah, so it's pretty much because I was a valuable asset to have, and so business-wise, it was like, hey, can you make me something? You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Yeah, okay. And then it just kind of continued on, and then we became friends from there. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys have any kind of other questions that you want answered, anything chill chat, deep chat, or love chat Q&A, be sure to leave them down in the comment section below. And with that, stay beautiful, have a fantastic freaking day, and we'll see you later.